G'day and welcome to the Grow a Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Truen. Each week, we speak with an owner who has grown a business with 5 to 30 team members to something bigger. Diving into their numbers and unearthing the pain they've experienced, we explore what they did to overcome each barrier and what they would do differently from day one. Let's get into it. We'll have all the show notes and any resources mentioned in the cast on our website. Aged 27, in 2014, started a business producing and selling healthy protein bars, the only all-natural, low-sugar bars on the market. By the end of year one, she had $70,000 in sales and was stocked in 3 stores. In FY19, got to 400, then 1,500 stores by the end of FY20, and very soon will almost double that to 2,600 stockists, with Coles and Woolworths a backbone of their distribution. She was the 1 FTE for the first 3 years, now has 6 plus contractors, no bank or investor funding, starting with $20,000 of her own savings. After landing an investor on Shark Tank in 2015, which later fell through, funded growth using the over $100,000 profit she made the month after the episode aired, when online sales jumped to $200,000. Went on Shark Tank asking for $150,000 for 45% equity, valuing the business at $330,000, and is very glad John McGrath, the Sydney real estate mogul, walked away. Kate still owns 100% of the business. Felt she'd succeeded when the minute she got product on the shelf and launched. Hardest thing about growing a small business is believing in yourself. What Kate would tell herself on day one of starting out is, it's a good thing you don't know what you're going to face, but you will love what you do. You've created a business you are so proud of that makes a real difference in the industry and people's lives. Check out episode 10 and hear how Ben Crowley started Tasmanian-based bulk nutrients in 2006 after getting the idea while living in Japan, starting with $10,000 and promptly losing it all on stock locked in customs, and hear how he and the team have grown to $27 million in annual sales with 55 team members. Welcome everyone. Today I'm interviewing Kate Johansson from Koja. Thanks for your time today, Kate.
Thanks for having me.
And how we know each other, that's Peter, who edits our podcast, reached out and asked if you'd like to come on the cast.
Yep. Thank you.
Tell our audience a little bit about your business, where it's located, what it does and how it makes money.
Sure. Our business is Koja. We make real nutrition snacks. We're based in Melbourne. Our best-selling product range is our peanut butter bars, and they're sold in Coles, and we're about 3 weeks off a national launch in Woolworths, as well as being distributed online and through independent supermarkets like your IGAs and Foodworks across Australia. And we've got a little bit of a footprint international, but that's a real growth area for us for future.
And for context, those outside of Australia, Coles and Woolworths are a big duopoly here in Australia for food or supermarkets, and they own 80 or 85% of that market. They're huge.
Yep, definitely.
Great. And tell us how you started out.
So it was about 5, almost 6 years ago now. I found myself, I've always been really passionate about nutrition. And so I found myself working in the supplement industry. I was working for a company that made and developed supplements for professional athletes. It was all about elite performance and nutrition. So a great field, very much something I've always been passionate about. But I quickly found myself personally disagreeing with the products that we were developing and promoting and selling. I've always been a big advocate for health, but for me, health is about getting the food right. So real food, whole foods, nothing artificial, nothing processed, and seeing, professional athletes talk about their nutrition but not mention what they had for breakfast, for me was just, they just talked all about the pills that they were taking and the supplements and the powders, and that's all synthetic, it's made in labs, nothing is, we weren't even consulting them on their actual diet, which just really for me was a problem, and it motivated me to go, well, why don't Australians eat better? Why don't we eat more real food? Why are supermarkets so full of processed food? And I set out to change that by starting Koja.
Yeah, great. And how old were you when you started that journey?
I was 27 when I started the business. And so, 5, 6 years on, I'm 33.
Wow, that's great. Do you have some key numbers you can share to illustrate the growth of the business?
Yeah, I think the best way to talk about growth for us is our distribution. So whilst we do sell a significant amount of volume through online, through our own website, one way to really show the growth of the last few years is through the store distribution, and that's really where we want to continue to grow. We don't want to be an online-only business. I believe the real opportunity for Koja is in that impulse, when you're out and about and you need a healthy snack, instead of reaching for something that's unhealthy, we want you to be able to conveniently reach for Koja, which means you have to have that physical distribution.
Yep.
Last financial year, so 2019 to 2020,
yep.
We started the financial year with about 400 stores, finished the financial year with 1,500.
Wow, that's amazing.
So yeah, that was 2, 3, 4 times growth in distribution. So it was a very big year for us. And then this financial year, we're currently looking at the end of this month, we'll have 2,600 stockists. So
right.
It's, again, just been a really wild ride, most of that growth has come from getting Coles and Woolworths on board.
Yep.
But also that's just given us the platform to then grow in the independent space as well.
Yeah. And in your first year, how many stores were you in? Was it just online?
Yeah, like 3.
Right. So it was a big main focus then was online?
Yeah. So the first year I started it on the side. I was still working 3 days a week in paid employment, got to pay the rent.
Yes.
And just really wanting to sort of test the concept before going all in. We still managed to do about 70,000 in revenue in the first 12 months. So it wasn't too bad at all.
Yeah.
And I say we, but it was really just me. But I think you get used to talking about your business as we. Like now that we're a team, it's very much a team effort. But back in the day, for the first 3 years of the business, it really was just me.
Just you, yeah. No, that's another good indicator of growth. So what's the team at now, FTE, full-time equivalent?
So we've got 6 in the team now. Working full-time here, but we've also structured the business where we use contract manufacturers, we use a lot of consultants and freelancers. So having people that do work on the business and in the business on a weekly basis but aren't on my payroll, or they're they're not on my payroll, so I'm still paying them, but just not directly in the team, which is great for that flexibility. And when things like what's happened this year with COVID hits, it just means that you can scale up and scale down really easily. Yeah,
that's good. And when was the moment you felt like you'd succeeded?
Yeah, success is a really funny one. I looked at this question and I thought, some days I still don't feel like I've succeeded because I know that there's so much more to do. But then other days I feel like I succeeded the minute I got a product on the shelf and launched. So I think it comes back to how do you define success? And obviously a lot of people will define it financially. When did you make your first, I don't know, $1 million in sales and things like that. But for me, success, it really speaks to why I started this business. And success is not, I'm not here to make $1 million. Obviously that's nice, and it means I can launch more products and spread the message further about real food. But for me, I feel really privileged to be able to work for myself on a business that I love, in something that I'm good at. I have that flexibility of when I work hard, I see the results straight away. I'm not waiting for a promotion from a boss or and even just having the ability and the flexibility to work on what I love. There's definitely days where I'm working on stuff that I don't love, and you got to work pretty hard, as I'm sure all your listeners know. Growing a small business is no easy ride. But I feel like I've succeeded. For the last few years, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, great. And number one thing you'd recommend to marketing a fast-growing business?
For us, it's always been about what makes us different. So, and I think that's fundamental for any business, but especially when you're starting out for us, the, protein bar market, snack bar market, it's a highly fragmented industry. There's a lot of players, but it's very fragmented. So it's easy to get a point of difference. It's not easy. Well, it is easy to have a point of difference when you have one. strongly believe that we do, but the challenge is in communicating that to customers. We still have customers that go, oh, you know, protein bars taste like cardboard, or all the natural bars are full of natural sugars and I can't eat them because I can't tolerate dates and I've got eating, you know, preferences. And so our biggest marketing challenge is explaining that we're, you know, really the only all natural low sugar option on the market. So to answer the question in terms of marketing, it's just being really clear on why you're different to your competitors.
I agree with that. When I speak at distilling conferences, particularly distillers aren't usually strong or have a big background in marketing or understand it or can spell it. And that's one of the things I put up in my slides is like the 3 rules of property is location, location, location. And I believe in distilling, in that niche particularly, but broader for, you know, most businesses, it is differentiation, differentiation, differentiation.
Yeah, definitely.
And how'd you fund your business?
Self-funded pretty much all the way through. We, about 7 months into the business, I'd put, you know, a good 20,000 of life savings into the business. And then we went on Shark Tank. So got up there back in 2015 and pitched my tiny, you know, we would hardly call it a business. But I pitched and we ended up getting a deal that no longer didn't go through, which I think if you know anything about Shark Tank, that's pretty common practice. It is ultimately a TV show, but the exposure that we got from that show was incredible, and we were able to do close to 200,000 in the month following the show airing. And that was all online sales, so great profit margin on it. And we were still a home-based business, so very minimal costs. I was the only employee in the business. I pulled everyone I knew in to back orders. And that meant that we were then able to, you know, take the profit from that, which was over $100,000. And that was really the seed capital that we used to launch.
Very clever. 2 questions on your experience. Lucky. I don't think it was lucky. It was. Sounds like it was well planned. 2 questions on the Shark Tank experience. Who was the shark or sharks looking at investing, and 2, you know, how did you feel about going on there? Were you quite nervous?
So I got a deal with John McGrath. He was on season 1 and then he didn't continue on to the other seasons. I
met John McGrath 20 years ago at this national student conference I used to go to. He spoke at it. Lovely bloke. He's the property magnate from Sydney that their real estate agency focuses on mainly premium end of town, but very successful.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't get to know him that well, to be honest. I think, you know, you walk in for filming on the day, you haven't met any of the sharks. I think they try and make it, you know, a bit intimidating so that the nerves make for better TV. But then, you know, you shake hands, you do a deal, and I really have spent, you know, less than a few hours with him in the end. So don't know him that well, to be honest. But in terms of the whole experience, I really enjoyed it. I think as an entrepreneur, I love that element of risk and, you know, the unknown. I think I wouldn't be in this game if I didn't get some thrill out of that. So going on Shark Tank was just another challenge. I've always been a fan of Dragon's Den, the UK.
Yeah, me too. When I was living in London, I loved that show. I'd watch it religiously.
Yeah, same. And I've always, like, even before I started Koja, I've always been like, oh, this would be so fun. So I had, religiously watched a lot of episodes, kind of known what to do, what not to do. I think there's a bit of a rule of just never disagree with the sharks, even if you do disagree, just kind of nod and smile and just say, oh yeah, look, I'll take that into consideration. And then in terms of numbers, I just knew that I had to, well, not just numbers, but numbers, funding, marketing, everything about the business. I had to know it inside and out so that if they asked me any question, I was able to answer it.
So how did you go? How do you feel you went?
Yeah, I think I did really well. I'd done the prep work. I knew the business. You know, I was the sole founder, so I had to know everything. There was no one else in the business that I could be like, oh, well, you know, that's Troy's responsibility. He can answer that. I knew the business inside and out. So that was, that worked in my favour.
Yeah, great. And what, out of interest, what were you asking for that investment, if you can remember?
Oh, I think I was asking for $150,000 and the deal was 45% equity.
Right.
So, it values the business just over 300,000, and I'm so glad that it never went anywhere, because I really don't think the business would have got through those hard years of like year 2 and 3. They're the years where we really had to push through and go, we're making no money, we're pouring money back into the business at every opportunity, just trying to get through those years. And I think if I only owned 55% of the business, I wouldn't have. Wouldn't
have pushed on. Any other funding, other investors or bank finance or grants over the years?
No grants. I keep applying for them. I'm yet to get one. I've only just this week we found out that we weren't successful in another grant, which is really disappointing. I feel like we're so ready for a grant, and a little bit of a helping hand would be fantastic. But we've really bootstrapped the business. Just any profit from the last 4 or 5 years has gone straight back in. It has probably meant that it's been slower growth. You can't hire new staff and launch new products if you don't have the cash available, obviously. But really in the last 12 or 18 months, the business has been profitable enough that we've been able to just pour that investment back into the business and grow. But I'm 100% owner, shareholder.
That's great. Well done. Have you looked at, when you're ramping up export, I assume you've looked at the export market development grant, the EMD?
Yeah, definitely. Like R&D, and there's those available.
There's also the federal export finance loan. I don't know if you've seen that. If you're looking at exporting in a serious way, they'll give you bridging finance for 6 or 9 months.
Yeah, we've looked into options like that. But in terms of growing the business domestically, my biggest needs for capital are new product development and building a team, and that's all been through organic growth. Yeah,
great. If you were to start up today with plenty of funding, would you go into your industry?
I think yes is the answer.
The pause was the battle-scarred business owner. Yeah.
Probably. I was thinking to myself, I was going to say, I think I've always been destined for food. I love this industry and I love food.
Yep.
I just can't imagine doing much else, to be honest. I love how everybody eats. You've got a pretty big customer base. And everybody has a different experience with food, and we're obviously not trying to sell our Koja bars to everybody, but to find the people that do love what we do, I think I'll always be in food. Yeah,
good. Can you outline the most stressful point in your small business growth journey so our audience can learn from it?
There is no one point. Definitely not is the answer to that question. I'm sure a lot of your guests on this podcast would say that there's been a lot of stress over the years. Yep. I always talk about business or running your own business as like the highs are so high.
Yep.
If you work for someone else and you close a big deal, fantastic. You're going to get a bonus. It's great. But when it's your own business, that high is just so high.
Yeah, I agree.
But then likewise, when you have a bad day, when you work for someone else, it's just a bad day and you leave it at the office or, move on. But when it's your own business, the lows are so low. So I always kind of refer to that with stress. Some stress is obviously good. I love the thrill of, facing new challenges every day, every week. Mm-hmm. The satisfaction of learning something new and succeeding where, a few weeks ago you had no idea what you were doing and all of a sudden you're an expert in whatever it is you've done. I really enjoy that. But in terms of stress, I think it's the last couple of years we've seen a lot more growth and success. So the stress has been worth it and more enjoyable. Whereas probably year 2 or 3, it was just a real grind. You're just doubting yourself the whole time, doubting the business, doubting the industry, doubting the products. And that's probably it.
Yeah, I've definitely been there, Kate. Don't worry. Yeah. What area in business do you feel you had to work on the most to add the greatest value?
what area in business have I had to work on the most to add value? Or
to add the greatest value, I guess. So it's like some people say, well, definitely the marketing, or it's my mindset, the way, or it's my team, like recruitment. Is there one area you can think
all
of?
of the above. Yeah, really, I think, I have a business degree.
Yep.
I feel like I had a strong strategic background. Finance has always been strong for me. I started my career in finance and then moved into sales.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a good grounding, I think, of like foundation of education coming into running my own business. But I've had to work on everything over the last 5 years. Marketing is something I don't enjoy, I think. I have to enjoy it because it's a big part of what we do. And I do love speaking to our customers and I love communicating our message.
Yep.
But I find myself continually getting frustrated with marketing. So that's probably an area where I've had to outsource a little bit and just understand a little bit more about, work on the marketing, how that works.
Yeah, I think a lot of business owners could spend more time getting to understand marketing, even if they don't do it themselves or internally. But I think it's a really good thing to invest in.
Yeah, I mean, sales and marketing is the lifeline of most businesses.
Yes.
Can't survive without new customers.
Yep. And what have you enjoyed least about managing the fast growth?
I think the lack of access to capital has been our biggest challenge. I look at businesses, my competitors that have got investors and seem to have endless amounts of cash.
Yeah.
And that's just outside looking in. Obviously, it's probably a very different story.
Yeah.
But for me, something that has always been a question in the business is, do I give up some equity, get some cash and grow faster? Do I put my house on the line and take a huge bank loan and start paying huge interest rates and, if this doesn't work, potentially be homeless?
Yep.
Or do I continue to, strategically grow the business within its own capital requirements? And
have you looked at crowdfunding?
Yeah, it's, again, something that we've considered. And again, coming back to marketing, it's like we're asking a lot of our customers already. We're asking them to invest in their health. We're asking them to buy a premium bar. We're asking them to buy it every week and every month. And to then ask them to also, pre-fund a new product or something like that. I just don't, I don't want to ask that of my customers. I just want to have a really clear expectation of what I'm asking them to do, which is to take a punt on one of our bars, taste it, fall in love with it, and when you love it, buy it every week.
Yeah, great.
Even better.
I've got a folder of a heap of crowdfunds because we did one at New Zealand Whisky end of 2018, raised 700,000 Kiwi, and picked up about 300 shareholders from that. So that was an equity crowdfund raise. So I still keep an eye on the space. I'll send you through a folder I've got that I keep of those investment memorandums. You might be interested. There's a couple out there I think that would be quite relevant to you. So you might want to have a look through their IMs and just see if that is something down the track you might want to consider.
Yeah, definitely. I've been through a couple of rounds of seed funding.
Yep.
And had significant interest, especially like 12 months ago, just getting into Coles and seeing the trajectory in the business. We've had a lot of interest in the seed funding, but I'm really, as hopefully you can tell, I'm really passionate about this business and wanted to find the right investor.
Yep.
And haven't found that yet.
The other way I'd think about the crowdfunding though, Kate, is that you're also picking up brand ambassadors, people, because they say in crowdfunding, but you need to bring your own tribe along to the fund. It's not, you can't expect the platform. We use Pledge Me in New Zealand and they had 70,000 people in their database that had already pledged to other campaigns over the years. And they said, don't just think a lot of those are going to convert. You've got to bring your own tribe. And if you've already got a strong following, people, loyal customers, they actually want to be part of that journey and a part of the financial journey as well and get some equity. And yeah, so it might be worth something considering. There's Osho Chocolate in Dunedin, which is more of a social enterprise. There's Atheek, I think they're in Wellington, and there's a couple other businesses similar that I think you might be worth you having a look at anyway.
Yeah, definitely. And we do have that tribe. I mean, we have such loyal customers, and through our social media and emails, we do try to bring people along for the journey. I try to be really transparent. I think of myself as a really honest and genuine person. I genuinely want to create good quality products, and I think I deliver on that compared to, we sit on shelves with huge multinational companies that, I look at their ingredients lists and sometimes even taste their bars reluctantly and just go,
they taste like shit.
This stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're going to be 2,600 stores, in the next year or so, that's amazing in 6 years. I think you're in a really, really good position to, getting that funding strategy right, or the capital mix to propel that next chapter of growth is going to be key, whatever that is.
Yeah, definitely.
And what do you love most about growing a small business?
I just love that one-on-one connection that you get with customers sometimes, probably at the moment on a daily basis, but our customer service is an absolute pleasure. I don't know why, really. I'm in a few business forums, and I've got, a few business networks where people will often vent about terrible customers, and I don't have any. Yep. I very rarely get any. I think we're really transparent. So when something does go wrong, and it happens, things go wrong, but we'll happily, one of the team here will pick up the phone and explain, your order's just been held up. We don't know why, but we'll, we always try and communicate really clearly with our customers.
Yep.
But that's the thing I love, just getting emails or phone calls or having a quick one-on-one, even if it's on social media, but someone saying, I'd given up on protein bars. I never used to buy them. I found yours and I love them. Or I've always had bloating after snacking, and then I tried your bars and they're just amazing. They keep me full for hours. They taste delicious. I'm addicted. We talk about some of our Koja customers as Koja addicts.
That's great feedback and endorsement, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that's kind of my why. You go, why am I doing this? I'm not interested in making $1 million to buy myself a yacht. That's absolutely not why I get up and get out of bed every day, but it is to see people changing the way they eat and understanding that if you cut out all that processed rubbish that is found in the protein aisle and you just eat real whole foods, you can get all the nutrition you need from real food and you feel so much better. You have more energy, your skin clears up. It's just great to hear people experiencing that for themselves.
Well, it's wonderful to hear your passion for what you're doing in the business and the product and your customers. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
What's been the biggest mindset shift for you in your small business growth journey?
I think that's probably only happened in the last 18 months to 2 years. Prior to that, I was not constantly, but regularly questioning if I should continue in the business.
Yeah.
I think for the first 3 years, we made very little profit, and there was always something to reinvest in. So whenever we found ourselves with a little bit of spare cash, it was all, okay, let's invest in that. Let's invest in that. So for the first 3 years, I really questioned if the business was the right idea, if I had the right business model, if I had what it takes, if I could do it on my own. And really in the last 2 years, I've stopped questioning that. I believe in my ability a lot more. I can't do everything, but I can employ a team and I can outsource, and I don't question that anymore. I know what we're doing. I'm really clear about where we're going. I know what's going to happen in the next 3, 6, 12 months and on from there.
Great. And was there something deliberate that happened to make you think differently on that?
There's no real one moment. There's been a few. I think what happened a couple of years ago is I've got a few different mentors, and I remember meeting with one, and I was questioning the business, and he really quite straightforward knocked some sense into me and said, "Don't be ridiculous.
You've got a great business.
Yeah, what you've got is incredible, and you've done it with no debt and no investment, and you've got all these customers. You've got a great product. It's really different. You've got a point of difference. You've got a great brand. You've just built a fantastic platform to grow from." And hearing him say that just It was a Friday night. I was actually dropping off an online order to his doorstep, and
Yeah.
I got a serve of, mentoring.
Yep.
And just when I needed it, I think that
Yeah.
was a day when I was probably questioning the business, and just hearing his perspective on the business that was different to mine.
That's good. And I've said that before on the cast. Mentors and coaches are good, not just to point out things opportunities you may not have thought of, or risks, or they also can reinforce and validate a decision you're about to make, or even just where you're at. So I think they're worth that, that investment.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the number one habit you think a small business owner needs to develop and maintain?
Big picture planning.
Good.
So I'm a very visual person. I've got boards in my office here at work, in the warehouse, just what's happening this month, what's happening this quarter. Just setting those big picture goals is what keeps me on track. And I've said this before, everyone has bad days.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that's really important in your own business, or maybe in any role, in fact, is just not letting one bad day or one bad email, one letdown set you back.
Yeah.
Understanding that just, one bad day in a month of 29 great days is just one bad day, and it shouldn't make a difference to where we're at on the big picture goal.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Do you love talking small business growth with other owners? We have a vibrant online community from many industries around the world. Plus, we regularly add new tools and resources for community members and host 2 webinars a month to help you grow your small business. growsmallbusiness.com.
Can you talk about how you added people to the team, some wins, mistakes, and advice for those listening?
Yeah, definitely. I think really just this year, or in the last 12 months, we've finally had the right process in hiring. So the last 2 people I've hired, both full-time, I've used an outsourced HR consultant.
Mm-hmm.
So bringing in that experience to really question me before we even advertise for the role. So just saying, what is the role? What's their responsibilities? What are they not doing? What's the job? What kind of experience do you want? What kind of person are you looking for? What's your culture? So bringing in an HR consultant, it's a $5,000 investment up front. But
it's well worth it, because it gives you that framework to help you pick the right person, to get those A players on the bus. And a lot of business owners don't have experience in recruitment. It's one of the most important things, getting the right people. So to get an expert in, like a HR advisor, I think that's really smart.
Yeah, it's been, and the new people that we've added to the team in the last 12 months have all just hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And see that straight away. You go, oh, okay, that HR consultant fee paid for itself in the first 2 weeks.
Definitely. Well, the Harvard study I read a few years ago, that it's estimated that a mishire, if you get a B or a C player on, or an arsehole, it can cost you 10 times their wage in all these hidden costs. Other A players leave because you don't do anything about that person or soon enough. And yeah, it's a huge hidden cost that a lot of people don't really understand.
And in a small team, like we're only 6 here on a daily basis, and we all get along.
Yep.
And it's really important that we do. And I'm lucky that really in the last couple of years I've had a great team.
Yeah.
But yeah, previously when we were a smaller team as well, you have, one person and they're not bad people, they just don't fit in the culture.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, brings the whole team down.
Yep. Oh, well, that's the next question. What are some things you recommend to building a sustainable and kick-ass culture to help with that growth?
I don't know. For us, this has happened really organically. I think I'm really passionate about the business, and people can see that as soon as they have any interaction with the business, I hope. And especially if they come in for an interview, they know that they're not just going into another, black and white hierarchical business.
Yep.
We have a flat culture. I listen to everybody. I've got like a shared Google Sheets, and everyone's encouraged to put new ideas in every week.
Great.
So just know, I think people come to Koja when they work here, they know that they're going to have a real impact on what the business does and where the business goes. So we attract pretty cool people that want to make a difference, not just want to come to work at 9 and walk out the door at 5. We're really all about really making a difference in the food industry. So it's been, it hasn't been something that I've calculated and gone, all right, we're going to have a great culture. I've just hired people that seem to be equally passionate about what they do, and then given people enough responsibility in their own role to feel like they have some ownership over what they're doing and they're not just doing what they're told.
Yeah, and it sounds like you've given them autonomy and they can make, their own decisions and get on with their work rather than being micromanaged.
Yeah, definitely. I hate managing people, and it's a part, like, I love it and hate it. But, I think the more people that we can have in the team that really are self-motivated and manage themselves. Yeah, we do weekly catch-ups, and I meet with all my staff, and we have monthly, bigger team meetings. Everyone's got their KPIs, but I'm not the type of manager that's going to sit down with every staff member in the morning and say, what are you working on today? I don't have time for that.
No, I hate that. Have you seen, I think it's called Office Space, and there's a great scene in there where the manager asks the direct, you didn't put a cover on this TPG report or whatever it is, and it just goes round and round in circles. It's quite funny. Micromanagement just does not work.
No, definitely not.
Tell our audience how you've handled balance.
I think because I love what I do, it's less about balance and more just about managing my own energy levels. And I think, the old saying of a work-life balance is very much for people that do clock into work at 9 and clock out at 4 or 5.
I think it's very different for business owners, but it's also challenging. I certainly struggled with it early on, switching off if I've said I'm not working now, but then my brain's still going a million miles an hour. But also just that urge to just keep working and working. Something I've worked hard on the last decade is that finding more balance.
And it's probably something I'm guilty of is, I like working, and because I have such a varied role at Koja, if I'm sick of, working on the numbers and the cash flow and the sales analysis, I can jump into something more creative like packaging concepts or new product development. So I do balance my role in that sense. But, this year we've had COVID lockdowns. We're in Melbourne. You can't go out. There's nothing else to do.
Except work.
I find myself working on weekends but enjoying it.
Yeah.
But in terms of the switch off thing, it may sound cliche, but yoga and meditation are something that I do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I'm no, yogi. I'm far from it, but just a few stretches, like even if it's a 20-minute routine before bed, I find that calming of the breath and the movements that's what I need on a daily basis to calm my mind, and that means I can sleep.
Great, yeah. What about hobbies? Do you have any hobbies?
Koja. Hobbies. I mean, I love exercise. So doing exercise that doesn't feel like exercise, like anything, going to the beach and swimming. I love walking, jogging, boxing, yoga. So hobbies are probably around physical exercise. Hiking. I love nothing more than getting out of the city for the weekend and going for a hike.
That's good. Yeah.
Otherwise, no real hobbies.
Well, how much professional development did you invest in yourself?
I think running your own business, you have to develop professionally or you won't progress.
Go backwards. Yeah, totally agree.
My mentors have been a big part of my professional development. They're great at highlighting my weaknesses and areas where I need to develop. I've got a new mentor who I've only been working with for a few months, and he's an ex-CEO of a big FMCG business, and he's worked in supermarkets, and he's really challenging me, which I love.
Yep.
So that's a big part of my professional development. Otherwise, just constantly trying to learn. I mean, I love listening to podcasts. I love doing online courses. As our team grows, I see my role as a manager and a leader evolving, and knowing how to lead and motivate people is really important now as our team grows. Yeah, so I've done courses, some online courses in that, and learning more about that. Some of it comes naturally, and others I think you do just have to learn what's the system for managing people.
Yeah, yep. I agree. And for the audience, FMCG is fast-moving consumer goods. So,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. What about, do you have a board of directors or advisors?
We have an advisory board. It's more casual than anything official. We don't get around a big boardroom table every month or every quarter and take minutes. But I've definitely got a team of advisors that I believe that they really see themselves as, part of Koja. They're not owners or investors or employees, but they're really invested in other ways and really passionate about seeing this business reach its potential.
Yep.
So yeah, that would be our board of advisors.
And how often do they meet?
On a quarterly basis, we have at the moment it's a Zoom.
Yep.
But otherwise, I'm in touch with each of them either a monthly or a weekly basis, but more on that one-on-one.
Yeah, great.
So I've got someone that I call if I've got marketing issues. I've got someone if I've got, different issues. I've got different people who I can seek advice from.
Yeah, I was about to ask what kind of roles you've got on the board. Marketing, that's good. Yeah. Do you have a chair of the board?
No.
No, cool. All right, we're on to our final 5 questions. What do you think is the hardest thing in growing a small business?
Believing in yourself. I think I've done this on my own for the majority of the journey, and you don't have outside feedback. You don't have a manager or colleague saying, "Hey, Kate, that was a really great presentation you did," or "Hey, that looks fantastic." You spend a lot of time on your own, and there's no feedback or reinforcement, or for a long time there was no colleagues to bounce ideas off or anything like that. So the hardest thing has been just believing in myself and pushing forward even when you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It's lonely at the top. You don't have anyone else giving any feedback, but even what's often missing is the positive feedback. There's no one there really to say, "Hey, that was a great chapter. There's a really big win." Getting into Coles and Woolworths is a massive achievement. But I mean, the board of advisor, I'm cognizant of this on the boards that I sit on, that I always look for positive feedback for whoever's reporting into the board, a CEO or a general manager, not just to always, like I talk about when I coach people on how to be better managers, don't manage by exception, which is someone may have done 10,000 things correctly in the last few weeks, and they fuck one thing up, and the manager just focuses on that one thing they didn't get right. And that can be really demoralizing. And for owners of businesses, you haven't really got anyone you obviously will beat yourself up if you really make a major error, but to give you that feedback, the positive feedback, say well done, and remind you also to celebrate, I think that's missing from a lot of owners.
Yeah, and that's something I don't do very well. Whenever we have big wins, it's something I've put into our sort of the business values now, and my team's really good at reminding me. It's like celebrate the small wins and the big wins, but I have a tendency to not do either. I'm just so
let's go. What's the next thing?
Seriously. No,
that's how I'm wired. I actually have to really concentrate on it, otherwise it doesn't happen.
Yep, that's exactly me. I just go, yep, cool, done, awesome. A little pat on the back, but I'm really like, great, what's next? Yep. And my team's really good at being like, hey, Kate, we should actually pop a bottle of champagne. We just our target for this month.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah, we should do that.
That's great. Favorite business book would just help you the most?
Going back to university days, I've hung on to a couple of my textbooks. I really like Blue Ocean Strategy. I studied in Boston at a business school there, and Blue Ocean Strategy was one of the, just core textbooks.
Yep.
Which just talks about your industry and always ensuring that you've got a really clear point of difference, so you're not just another Me Too product in a really saturated market.
Yeah, Blue Ocean, Red Ocean. The Red Ocean is where everyone's, there's a lot of blood in the water because everyone's eating everyone or competing on price, and you're not no different really to anyone else.
Yep.
Any great podcasts or online learning tools you use for your own professional development?
I'm listening to one at the moment, and if you let me bring up my phone, I'll tell you what it's actually called. It's all about no bullshit leadership.
Who's that by it?
It's Martin Moore. He's an Australian ex-CEO, and just talks about all the fundamentals of leadership, and I just really like his approach to business. I'm
adding that to my list right now.
Right. No bullshit leadership. It's also, the title speaks to me.
Yeah, definitely. One tool you'd recommend to help grow a small business?
A phone. I think just picking up the phone and speaking to people. I'm a bit old-fashioned like that. We hire some younger people. Our youngest team member's 19, and you ask her to pick up the phone and speak to anyone. She's like,
freaks out.
Send them an email.
Yeah.
And I think if you think about, basic tools, you've got a phone in your pocket, communication, relationships, they're the two things that have really been fundamental to my business journey.
Yeah, I read an article a few months ago about this phenomena that's happening at the moment. There's the researchers haven't seen such an epidemic as the anxiety of the young people going into workplaces now. They don't know how to communicate with peers, but particularly their bosses, because they've just grown up in this text-based culture, and now obviously all the social stuff. So not having the in-person reading the physical cues, understanding nuances, etc. And there's actual anxiety being developed by the younger people because they just don't know what to do. They're out of their depth.
Yeah, if I can teach our team members one thing, it's just, honesty. Don't let anything like fester. Just we're big on, hey, can I just grab you for 5 minutes and talk something through? And whatever it is, often we find, from one person's point of view, it can mean something completely different to how it was perceived by the other person. And, a quick 1 minute sentence can clear everything. And I'm just big on honesty and calling it what it is.
Yep, good. No bullshit.
Exactly.
All right, finally, my favourite question. What would you tell yourself on day one of starting out?
I'm laughing because my first thought was don't do it. I think
but you've changed that thinking and that mindset now, haven't you?
Yeah, I think of myself on day one, and I was very naive, and I thought, look, I'm smart, I'm driven, I'm a hard worker. Give me 12 months and I'll have a profitable business.
Yep. And
here I am almost 6 years on going, I think we're doing all right.
Yeah.
We're doing far from all right. We're doing really well. But I think what has helped me in terms of like what would I tell myself on day one, it was kind of a good thing that I didn't know what I was going to face, because if I told myself on day one that it would take 5 years to get proper distribution and that, you'd do 3 years of hell, I probably didn't want to know that on day one, because it would have made me think, is it all worth it? And on the other side of it, now I go, fantastic, I love what I do. I've created a real a business that I'm so proud of, that does make a real difference in the industry and in people's lives. And this is really just the beginning now. But on day one, I don't know. It would be scary looking forward and seeing everything.
Yeah.
I've seen it now.
Great. Well, thanks for your very candid, open and honest sharing of your journey with us, Kate. I think the audience will get a lot of value out of hearing your ups and downs and wins, and congratulations on the growth. It's really impressive.
Thank you. No, it's been great chatting.
And for our audience, we would greatly appreciate a review in iTunes or whatever platform you listen to us on. More reviews means we bubble up higher in iTunes, etc. So more business owners looking for podcast help with their growth will find us.